we've made the decision to sort of have a look at this motor in a bit of depth, because obviously number 3 cylinder, the diesel ran through the piston like nobody's business. So is there a broken ring or something? If you can remember, it had a little bit of back pressure, which is never a good thing. Maybe that was where it was coming from, but we've come this far now, we might as well do it properly. So I don't think it needs reboring or anything like that, but we don't know the shape of the cylinders. We need to measure them, because the pistons, when they're going up and down the bore, they don't always go parallel, if you see what I mean, if I can describe it. So they don't go parallel up and down, they actually go like this, and then when they come back up round the other side, they go that side, so they're flopping about. So usually in the middle of the cylinders they go pear-shaped. So you shouldn't really take the measurement at the top of the cylinder, you should take it sort of around about halfway, and that's why we put the pistons as close as we could halfway down, and that would be the widest point. See, there's more technicality than putting diesel into a cylinder. If they're not too bad, if they actually come up nice, I might just pop the block down to my local machine shop and get him to hone them out, you know, nice and parallel, so we can put new rings in. I've got a honing thing here, but it'll only follow the contours of the cylinder, so if they're not too bad, then we can do it like that. I don't really want to rebore it if possible, but now's the time, isn't it? Also, I want to acid wash out the block and get any corrosion out. Yeah, so I'm going to lift that out now, and there's no real showing you how to take an engine out. It's kind of easy. Like I say, I've stripped most of it down the other day. Yeah, so I've got to battle on and get the exhaust off, because I think somebody's welded it all in one piece. So I'm going to have to get the sawzall and cut that down. Apart from that, that's it. And then I can get it on the stand, and then we can really have a look at it. And I want to get in touch with the owner to see how far he goes, because I don't fancy messing around under a car, taking the oil pan off, or the sump, getting covered in oil and muck just to take pistons out. Not good, is it? The nice thing is about this engine is the injection system seemed to be quite good, so that's at least a little bit less expense, and I can build the whole engine up and then pop it back in again. Pop it back in. Make it sound so easy, eh? Right, so I'm going to get on with that. We've had some good calls on this engine. I've just got it out. I had a bit of a job getting it out, I must admit. The bolts here had corroded so badly into the bell housing, I had to revert to using the clutch to push it out. You know, put my foot on the clutch pedal and that pushed it out the way. That's a good trick if you ever want to know how to get an engine apart. Yeah, one of the call outs, you see this core plug at the back? You can just see where it's all plugged up with rust. I can't wait to get that out. What I'm going to do now is drain the oil out, leave it on the stand for a little while and drain the oil out. And while I'm doing that, I'll put it on the engine stand. But I just wanted to mention something to you, that the engine mounting had completely sheared off. Completely. And not only that, they come in a matching pair. Look at that. So the engine wasn't even fastened in. So that's nice. And also there was these two bolts here were tight, and two at the bottom, and the rest were all finger tight. So I think those. Now I got into trouble for calling them African lads. I shouldn't be calling them that now. They're Ghana lads from Ghana land, wherever that is. So they should get up on the morning and have a big bowl of porridge like me, and then he'd be nice and big and strong, because they weren't very good at fastening bolts up. So perhaps that's why they didn't bother putting them in. Oh well, so that's it. So now what we're going to do now is get this, like I say, get it on the stand, drop the oil out, and we'll get the pistons out. I don't know how far to go on this. It's very difficult, because I don't want to fully rebuild it, you know, grinding cranks and things like that. But we never know what we're going to find inside once we're stripping it down. I don't really want to take the crank out, because it's a right pain, because now you've got to take all the covers off and things like that. But so far, looking at this here, there's no oil spilling out. But there again, you're into that situation. Well, seen them here, I might as well put a seal in. Oh well, seen them here, I might as well put a clutch in. Seen them here. Let's get the oil out and see what falls out. You never know, do you? Before we go a bit further with this engine and put it on the stands, I've put my little adapter on the back. I want to see about this core plug here. I want to see what's behind it, because it looks like there's rust, but there's rust here, but it could be stood on the sat on the top. You don't have to worry about this core plug too much, because it's only blocks off the oil, so don't really bother with those too much. Not unless you want to mess about changing bushing in cams, but I don't think we're going to go that far. So I've got my little chisel. You're supposed to drill and put a screw in and pull it out, but I'm going to try and get it out like this. Do the twist. Oh, I wish I put money on that one. Look at that. Let me run it through the sandblaster. Let me run that bad boy through the sandblaster. So, did it have a hole in it? Yep. Look at that. You could tell by the rust how it had built up. Sandblaster went straight through it. That's going to leak out, cause overheating on the highway, under pressure, like me. So it's a good call to pull all these out. In fact, I tell you what, why don't we do it now? I'll be back in a second. Well, that didn't take very long. This was out of the front. You can see there when I punched it with a chisel to tip it, it went straight through, rotten as a pear. One of the middle ones. One of the middle ones. Again, there they are. Look quite innocent from the outside, don't they? Thought you'd like that. What's it like on the inside? I don't know really, let me have a look. What the hell is that in there? Something weird. Good and white. You know what that is? You know what that is? It's the plug off the top of the thermostat. You know them plastic screws, because that's plastic. The little plug must have snapped. They've screwed it in, it's managed to work its way through the engine. You would never have found that, would you? What other treasures may we find? Not really. No, this is a good time to show you whilst we're under it. Ah, come on, let's have a zoom. Why not? It didn't cost anything, does it? This is why we put the block heater in the middle, here, rather than here, because you can see where the edge of the cylinder is there. Can you see that? Oh, that's a good shot, isn't it? That'll get a bloody Oscar with that. Look at that. That's a good shot. So the cylinder's here and also here. See, there's a big square. So you can only put your block heater in here. If you get it in there, it's a miracle. And you see, you have to put it at an angle, so the butterflies are at an angle, because there's a cast in here, and there's a cast in here, so you're sort of limited a little bit. Well, that's interesting. Actually, it's not too rusty in there. I don't think we'll go to too much trouble with washing all that on. I think it's alright. I think a good rinse will get that out. What's it like at the front? Yeah, it's not bad at all, really. Just checking these castings around here. Yeah, they're alright. So I'm going to leave the oil a little bit longer in the oil pan and let it drain out. I think the obligatory cup of tea time. Then put it on the stand, flip it, and we'll see what it's like. How's that? I'm sorry, I'm just making this up as I go along. One viewer on this channel Albert from the Netherlands informed me of a product that I never saw here. I didn't know existed. It's just so simple, but it could be a game changer for when you're working draining water and fluids from your car, or even when you're parking your car to stop drips and things like that going on your concrete. What is it? This thing. It's a plastic tray for putting under a washing machine. Brilliant. 30 bucks, well, $35 from Amazon, and it just came about an hour ago. That's why I didn't use it already. So I'm going to spin this engine over. I'm going to turn it round, and I'm going to take the oil pan off it, or sump. I'll take the sump off it. But we're going to try this new device and see see how it works. It could be fun. We could have oil everywhere, but not with this. Look at this. It fits most beautifully on my stand. I'll take that bloody thing out there. No, get rid of that. We don't need that. No, I don't know what it does. Anyway, here goes nothing, because remember we've got diesel in the top of the pistons, so let's see if we can turn it round without giving myself a hernia. Ooh. Ooh, there we go, straight away. Oh, Albert, you're my hero. Oh, that didn't sound good. What the hell was that? Let's put a pin in it. Something fell off. What the heck was that? There, look at that. That's worth its weight in gold. Look at that. And of course, being white, we can see all the bits and pieces. But something metallic dropped. Oh, it's a stone. Oh, it's alright, don't worry guys. It's a stone. We'll put that in the sump later. Right. Now, this engine is filthy. I've just been talking to the owner, and I've just literally got off the phone with him as to what to do with this. Wait a minute. It sounds like DHL's coming. I'll be back in a tick. Well, it wasn't DHL, it was my mate Jim who wanted another job doing, but I'm now having to say no, I can't, or I price myself out of jobs because I'll never get anything done. Yeah, so where was I? Oh yeah, we were just discussing what to do, how far to go with this engine. I don't know. Let's have a look at the rear crank seal, and you'll sort of see a bit of my dilemma, because usually on these crank seals they're all leaky, but this is perfect. Look at that, it just looks like it's been put on. There's no oil leaks around here. I don't know. And of course when we look at the front as well, that looks really nice and tidy in there, look, you know what I mean? Like, you usually find them full of dust and rubbish, but the thing is, like I was saying to the owner, now we're here, do we take the crank out and stuff like that? What do we do? How far do we go? I really don't know. I really don't know. Anyway, let's get the sump off. Let's get the rods out, and let's have a look at that. Hey, I'm really pleased with this tray though. That's absolutely magnificent. Look at that. I should have had one years ago. Hey, they're ideal for putting under your car, aren't they? You know, if you could put your main drop tray for your drop container for your coolant, and that'll pick up all the rest of it. I'm over the moon. Thank you for that. Thank you for that tip anyway. Right, back to this strip down. Right, our dismantling tool is ideal for this job. Let's see if we can get this oil pan off. I usually do it just in the corners, and then it doesn't damage the because they're only thin. They're not like the old series trucks. It was like cast iron. Well, it wasn't cast iron, but it felt like it was really heavy. Right. Oh, just smelling that oil is just like bloody awful. You know, let's have a look at this here. The bad design. You see the sump plug? Oh, here? Well, it's not actually in the bottom, it's just resting at the top. I suppose it's like catches bits and pieces, but if you've got any bits of metal in there, it won't drain it out. So you can't see what's going on. I'll show you that a bit later. Right, so what I'm going to do is take off the strainer assembly. Now there's little tiny bits in there, but not too much. But we don't know what the rest is like. It looks nice and clean. But again, I'm in that dilemma. Do I take it all to bits, take the crank out, which means taking the end cover off, taking all this lot off, strip it all down? I mean, I only wanted originally to take the head off and get the glow plugs out, and now it looks like it's a major rebuild. Well, I'll tell you what, let's get this assembly off here and we'll start to take the pistons out. How's that? Well, we didn't get very far with that. I got the oil pan off. That's number 1 bearing. Scored, and it scored the crank. So that's where our oil pressure went. So it looks like it's a full strip down. And probably a crank grind. Maybe they can polish it, but that's the first one. Now, just to tell you, you know, we're going to replace the nuts on these. You have to replace them. But let's first have a look at the back of the shell to see if it already hasn't been rebuilt, because then if we are, we're in trouble. No, it looks standard. The Vanderbilt bearings, you can focus in on that. Is it focused? They're standard. There's no markings on them. That's good. What's not good is the crank. So I'm going to pull it all apart now, because this has been running on dirty oil. Now, to get the pistons out, I'm going to get some rubber tubing and just put it over these studs when I tap it out, because we don't, I mean, I know it's a waste of time because it's going to hit the crank anyway, but we're just to protect it, so we're just going to put a little bit of rubber tube over there, tap them out, and then next scene we'll have a look and see what these pistons are like. It just gets worse. Can you see that? This is the bit that takes all the pounding here, this bit. Look at that. It's down to the copper. Just to add insult to injury. Let's test the little end. Now try to ignore any movement. Can you see? Don't look at me. Don't look into my eyes. Look around the eyes. I'm trying to tip this piston. It actually, the little end bushing's loose. Interestingly enough, the rings are free. I wonder if the oil had, the diesel had freed them off, or they were supposed to be like that. There's lots of spring in those, if you see what I mean. Is it standard size? Who knows? So what I'm going to do is take all the rest of them out, and I'll show you what the worst ones are like. So I bet you're all wanting to know, number 3 piston, what was wrong with it? Well, it's quite simple really. The oil rings were almost in line on the oil control ring, and the top fire ring, the top compression ring, and the other one is sort of here. So I didn't have very far for the oil to sort of zigzag down. Every single one, they're all down to copper. Can you see that? I'm in a bit of a dilemma now. See, when you do when you do a scratch on this, it's just 3's alright, but number 2 and number 1, they're not very good at all. Let me take the camera off. I've got oil and crap everywhere now. It's a bloody hell of a mess. Wait a minute. Let me take the camera off and I'll show you the crank. I'll let you have a listen to these little ends here. Oh, wait a minute. They're loose, as you can see. Not good. Let's have a look at this crank. Might as well take the camera off, save starting up again. So the mains actually look in good condition. They haven't gone through any copper at all. However, if you can see here, there's a step in the crank. I hope you can pick that up. You can see all the scoring on this crank here. Will it polish? It might do. That one's good. That one's alright. It's just this centre main here that's not bad. Not good. Yeah, I really don't know. It'd have to go to a shop and check what that crank's like. So, a bit discouraging really. And especially with them rod bushes, because we had this problem once before with rod bushes, and my guy couldn't put it in. Maybe the can in Montreal, I don't know. Damn. Oh well, let's see what the customer says. I really don't know. That's sort of thrown the cat amongst the pigeons, but all those rods there, they're all down to copper, look. And that's going to lose oil pressure. Right, so I'm going to have to sign this off now, but the good news is that drip tray has been fantastic. We don't usually have an oil slick like that on the floor. Yeah. So anyway, something's good come out of today. I'll sign this off and we'll have a word with the customer and see what he says. See you later. Ta-ra.